Hello, everyone. Welcome to my watercolor owl um, paint along. I'm very happy today I have this one because it is quite fun. I don't think it's too hard, but owl is a fun thing, a fun animal to paint during this October day. Okay, so let me explain a little bit. If you go to my blog, you will see that I have this drawing. Actually, I draw it ahead of time so that you guys can use that drawing to either trace it, copy it, and then trace it, and do whatever you need it to do to get ready, because it is not, sometimes with owl, it's a little bit harder than flowers or fruits because you don't want anything off, because if it is off just a little bit, like for example if the eye and you have this one down too much, one of them down too much and one of them too high, then your eye will be able to tell then there's something wrong. So I thought it might be kind of helpful to have that ready for you. So you can use it, and just don't use it for commercial use, of course, and as you're learning to paint along, you can just use that and see if that help. But if you have another owl that you wanted to use, feel free to use that and trace that. Okay, so when I start painting animal, a lot of time I like to paint the eyes first, because if the eye is doing well, then the whole painting will be well. And so I don't like to paint the rest of the owl or maybe whatever animal I'm painting and then do the eye, because sometimes when you made a mistake with the eye, then the rest of your hard work is gone, because you might have to get rid of the painting, or try to fix it and maybe you can't, and that will be sad. So it's just my personal preference that I like to do the eye first. And the color that I'm using here is Pink's Gray. When I was practicing, I tried dark and black color, and I thought that was too black, and so I decided to use the Pink's Gray. When Pink's Gray is used full strength, is actually quite dark. You can see that I'm leaving a little bit white there for the highlight of the eyes, or you call the part where it catches the light. And I put on the full strength over here and pull the color out, so it's not just solidly one gray color. I tend to like that. And so I'm quite happy with this, except with the highlight, I usually at the very end I would like to come in with a white acrylic pen or some kind of pen to intensify that. So as you can tell, well, even with my stand, I don't think that those highlights are sufficient, but don't worry about it, we will come and do something with it. Okay, so as with this eye too, but since this eye is a little bit further, really not that much, but a little bit further from us, we will try to make it not as intense, if that makes sense. Because even though it's not that much further away from our perspective, we still wanted to make sure that it looks a little bit pushed back. So I'll try to use that gray color a little bit less intense, but we still want the pupil of the eye to be round and without much feathering. Okay, and I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so let's proceed to do the top part of the eye. Okay, over here it's actually sometimes it kind of almost look like eyelashes, but since I think this is a male owl. It can be male, it can be female. I don't know about much about owl enough to know the difference. For those of you who do know, you're welcome to leave me a comment, because I would, like I always say, I would love to hear from you guys, and you can tell me. I don't know a lot of things, and it'll be nice to learn together, and I do value everything that you tell me and love to hear from you. Okay, now as for this side, okay, we will do that first. Now as for this side, because like I tell you earlier, I want this eye to look a little bit pushed back. Okay, so I already used my ink. This is micron ink because those are waterproof. I would like to just leave that part as the way it is and leave some opening. Okay, and make this line a little bit softer and smaller, finer, I guess you can call it. Okay, and over here, and not close it up, and over here we can make it a little bit deeper. Okay, so the eye is, this is the top part that comes down, and the eye here, you know, eyeballs are actually round and circulish, so we can just try to paint that too, and make sure that we don't, you know, leave it just a triangle shape. It should be a round shape. It sits inside the skin of the eye, if you know what I mean. I hope I can explain things clearer, and not know the terms of the body either that well. Okay, and so now I wanted to paint the inside a little bit yellow and gold, and so I'm going to let it dry a little bit more, and we'll work on this part. Okay, and this part of the eye right now. And since we already have you know, a fine paintbrush, we will just go ahead and do that now. Okay, most of the time, like right now, I am looking at a big bunch of pictures of owls, and so then I'm more confident when I'm painting, so I know what I needed to do to make it look more believable to the eyes of the people that look at our painting, right? Okay, because this is overshadowing part of the eye, so there's a lot of dark shadow coming out here, and make it look realistic. Okay, I went to Yellowstone National Park, and I'm really big with hiking, so my husband and I really love hiking, so we went hiking. Before we went, I saw somebody posted on Instagram about an owl, a picture of an owl in Yellowstone Park, so I messaged her and asked her actually where she saw it, and she told me it's in Mammoth Hot Spring, those visitor center that's just off of Mammoth Hot Spring, and in between two buildings. So I take the information she gave me and went look between buildings, mainly where the tourists or the people stay in the hotels over there, but I didn't see the owl. I was a little sad, but I know that in Yellowstone National Park they have a lot of owls and nests here and there. I was hoping that I would see one, but I didn't. But I go there quite a bit because they just have really good hiking. So next time I will go look again. But I did see a owl in Glacier National Park, and that was really fun because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Glacier National Park. There's this. Okay, now let's talk about this a little bit. since this is the part of the top of the head that's coming down, so I have to remember that it does cast a shadow onto the eye of the owl in this direction. So I keep that in mind when I paint over there. When it's time, then I would want to do that and make sure that I have this shadow coming down, and the eyelid also casts a shadow. This eyelid would cast a shadow, and all those need to be painted in just so that it become more lifelike and believable. Okay, so I'm gonna put a little more shadow over here. Okay, and sometime I'm going to use we can also use purple for shadow, since this is my plan that the background is gonna be have a lot of purple and gray. I'm trying to do a night scene, and so I do the branches different. I would like to show that to you today, and so since I have that in mind, I will make sure that I push purple here and there on the owl, so to make it more believable. Okay, and so we're done with that, and let's go on to, while we're waiting for this part to dry, let's go on to the top part. I don't know if these are ears. I mean, they look like ears to me. They are very cute, and so let's just start painting that area and give the dark part of the eye a little bit more time to dry off. Okay, it's nice with a painting you have all kinds of things that you can work around, and so we don't have to worry about, or we shouldn't paint in an area when it's wet, because the color just tend to runs together. Okay, so with this owl I would like to do it mainly gray color, and I would drop in quinacridone burnt orange to brighten it up, and use sepia color to darken it. Okay, so the not gray color, actually I'm talking about burnt umber, and I'm like, as I was practicing, I should have the burnt umber seemed kind of bright to me, but I think it is burnt umber, so I'm not going to worry about it too much and just go ahead and do what I wanted to do. Okay, so I'm just gonna start over here and make sure that there is a V shape. Okay, so this go actually just down to this part, and I'll do the V shape right there. Okay, and so I really hope this color really is burnt umber. Sometimes it look almost like burnt sienna to me, but as I was practicing, I thought, it looks kind of bright, but it just may be the light that's shining on here. It's very, very gray outside, but I appreciate that it's darker today, because it's been a very, very hot summer, and I don't know if people know that we don't have a lot of rainfall this summer, so it's not even just hot, it's hot and dry. So, and hot and dry is a very hard thing. When I don't get to go hiking, sometimes I like to okay, so that's burnt umber, and now I'm going in with some sepia to darken this area. Okay, to just create some depth to the feather that's up here, and it look very, very pretty that way. So sepia is a very it's a color that easily mixes with burnt umber. It's very pretty. At least I think it is. Anyway, so if I don't get to go hiking, I like to do walking around, just to keep myself a little healthier and sleep better at night. I don't like really sleep very well, but I felt that when I go walking, or if it is too cold here in Utah, the winter time, sometimes I would do some aerobic at home, just some form of exercise. But it is very hard to walk when it's very, very hot out, and I don't make it out. In the morning I check mail, I check things that I wanted to, I look at pictures, and think what do I, and plan out about my art, and so sometimes I just don't make it out that fast. Okay, now this is burnt quinacridone burnt orange. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that on the screen. It just brightened the color suddenly. And so I like to go out and go on walks. And when I go on walks, it's today is very shadow. I mean, not like overcast. And so I kind of like that because when it's overcast, then I felt like, I'm not as hot. I don't know, I came from the tropical area of the world from Hong Kong myself. I came over when I was very young, about 15 years old, and I have never really got used to being really, really hot. A few years back, I went to Singapore, and Singapore is very hot. It's because they're just very close to the equator, and so I went there to pick up my daughter. My daughter served as a missionary in the Singapore, Malaysia mission, so that's where she served. And so when she was done, we went over to pick her up, and I was so hot I couldn't go outside. And my husband told me to say, hey, Kathy, you come all the way over here. You need to go outside and start looking at things. And so, I don't know, did I forget to bring a hat out? I wouldn't have forget to bring a hat. But anyway, I remember, I can see it in my mind's eye. Okay, this is sepia color again. I use my hand to cover my face as I go out, and then I like to go back to the hotel really quickly. I think my husband thought I was kind of wimpy, because my daughter, it was a mission that she actually has to ride bicycle. Okay, so I'm leaving this part a little bit open. Okay, because when I do the background, the darker color, nighttime background, I'm going to have the color roll into this area. Okay, so I'm not going to paint that very much as of right now. But anyway, go back to the story, and my husband say, your daughter has been working as a missionary, and they bike around, because they don't always, not every single missionary have cars. I think only the older missionary have them, and so they have to ride their bicycle around. And I don't know how she ride the bike in that heat and the rain. And I know that it was very hard from the email and letters she wrote me. And my husband told me that you need to let your daughter see that you're kind of tough too. Of course, I was a missionary in Hong Kong myself, but I was much younger, 21 years old. So I tried to be brave and try to get used to the weather. I didn't do a very good job. So we took when we pick up, I guess we pick up my daughter, my husband and I, and then we went to Malaysia, and I found out Malaysia was actually not as hot as Singapore. And that was a little bit easier on me, and I was probably just so happy. I haven't seen my daughter for a year and a half, so I think I'd forgotten about the heat, and I was able to go around because she wanted to show us things. Actually, I remember the heat. It was still very, very hot. Okay, now this part I did the same thing as over here. I want to drop some of the darker color. And sometimes the darker color kind of, when there's still a lot of water there, they just kind of disperse a little bit. And so that was what I was doing. I was just trying to intensify it just a little bit. Okay, and this is quinacridone gold again to just make it a little bit. Okay, so over here I'm just going to use, let me think, just a little bit of the burnt umber and go over here, and then I will put somewhat good amount of water so that it disappears into the background. Okay, that's how I like to get that part done. Okay, now, so this is a shadowy area too, and so is it over here because of the ears, casting a shadow as well. That's why I think. Okay, so I'm going to use some of the pink gray again and just put some shadow down here, and as long as I'm doing shadow, I'm going to also put the bluish purple that I'm going to use very liberally in the background. And so in order to make the painting have harmony, I will do that I'll do that, put the blue purple on the painting too, okay? So if you have any kind of blue purple, the red purple might be a little too bright, but the blue purple, when it is mixed with the Payne's gray, it becomes kind of like a gray purple, as you can see here, and that's actually quite pretty. Daniel Smith also has a color called Moon Glow. I think it's a blue purple mixed in with the gray, but they mix their color, and I'm sure that they know what they're doing. So that was just my guess. Okay, now right now I would like to put some shadowy color on these soft feather around the eyes, because it's not like just a plain white thing paste on their eye, right? There's a shadow casting here and there, so if we just go in and suggest that, it's very believable to the viewer's eyes. Okay, that's how we work our painting. Okay, that's very good, and you can go in with a clean brush and just kind of soften it, but doesn't have to be too picky about that. Okay, and we'll do the same for the other side. Okay, but since the other side is, like I said earlier, further away from us, we will make this a little bit darker. Okay, and then I will use the background to help me. I'll show you that in a while when I do the background. That's what my teachers taught me when I was learning. She said, just call it, using the background to help you. Okay, let's do the beak. I hope this is called the beak area. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just bring some Payne's gray color and start from over here. Feather and shadow. But the beak is actually, from all the picture that I'm seeing, it's actually kind of grayish. So okay, and I'll bring it out up there. The reason why I'm doing this is then you can see the edges of the hair. Okay, and then I'll come over here and just soften it just a little bit, and I'll come back. I would like to have just maybe a little bit more color on this side. Okay, that's good. And then I'll come back and soften the color. Actually define the color a little bit more around here. I'm leaving this there's a strip of area, I'm just leaving it kind of whitish and grayish, because the beak really stands out, and so it'll be nice that it has a highlight right there. Okay, just kind of like that. Okay, and let's intensify this area a little bit more. And so it will look more pushed back to the background. And it's the same, we can, if we like to, we can put a dab of that purple color on it too. And a dab on this side, and some of the shadow. Probably some of that over there. Okay, before we proceed to the rest of the body, let's go back to his eyes, okay? So what I'm using a fine detail brush, and I'm now dipping in some medium yellow color, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put some intense color over there, medium yellow, and then I go clean off my brush and then pull the color out. So that's intense and then it's lighter, because I know that, you know, when we look at a ball, it's not just paint one solid color, right? We have more intense area and softer area, so it will let us see the round shape, and so that's what I'm trying to accomplish. And then I will go to the quinacridone gold from Daniel Smith. It's just, or you can use Indian yellow, any kind of yellow that's a little bit darker, and just drop a little bit in there so that the eye color is not that flat. And so I'm very happy with what that is, okay? And so now we're on to the other side that's a little bit further from us, okay? And so we're gonna be a little bit light-handed, you know, maybe more intense over here because the shadow is gonna come over here, okay? And then I will clean the brush and push the color out. Okay, look like I ran out of pigment and drop that there. You know, I will just let that little area be white. Okay, so if you want to, you can put a little bit of gold there so that the eyes are not as flat. And so now I'm very happy with the eyes. And I will wait until it dries and then come back and put the shadow that I talked about a little earlier. Okay, so now let's go on to the back of the back of his head over here. Okay, and so it's very simple. So we will go back to the burnt umber color. Okay, and start painting this area. Okay, we'll start over here. You can actually follow the drawing that I gave you, and it, you know, and the outline of this area, you can just follow what I did in the drawing if you like, and just kind of paint along like that. And I'm softening the color, soften that. Okay, so since this area is higher up, we do want it to go in here and drop in some of the sepia color, and that suggests that it casts some darker. You can see that the feathers are a little bit darker, let's say it that way, because of the shadow, right? And so it's good to have some sepia over here. Okay. Sepia color, and I like to intensify the burnt umber a little bit. It looks too weak to me, the color. So I'll just paint that and then soften the edges, okay? Soften the edges over here and soften the edges over there. Okay, that looks good. Okay, and now we are going to the in one of the pictures that I see that the owl is going in like that at the back here, so that's why I did that drawing. And so I will just did that and follow. Since I did that, I'll just follow the line that I outlined for you, and I'll just do the same thing. Okay, I'll soften this part because then it looks like the feather is just disappearing in the back. Okay, before they go all dry, let's come in and make some part of it more intense. Okay, sometimes with some animal or flowers, whatever you paint, you want to be light touch, and sometimes you want it to be a little bit heavier, because then it doesn't appear too wimpy. And with an owl, which is a very strong animal, and it's not good that the color can be, let's just say that the color can be more intense. Okay, so we cover up the white part. And I leave this a little bit white because it's turning towards the back. Okay, so I am quite happy. Let's see if this area is not quite dry. When it dry up, then I'll come in and once again intensify it a little bit more. Okay, and over here also. Now let's go on to what I call the bib. This is what I call the bib. I don't really know the feather that's over here, and so. But before you go into the bib over here, there's because these feather up here close to his face is higher, and so it will cast a shadow, and so we need to paint that. Sorry. Having hiccup today. Okay, so I'm like trying to use the same burnt umber color and come down here and come over here. Not too far down, just a little bit closer to the top part, okay? And then I soften it. I soften this part, okay? And before it goes too dry, I will go in the sepia again and make this a little bit darker to indicate that you will see that after you put in the sepia that it looks like it's separated, which is good, okay? The top face feather is separated from his beak, from his bib, sorry. Owls are so much fun to watch. The one that I saw in Glacier National Park. Oh yeah, I think I was halfway telling you guys. It's very hard to talk and paint and try to paint a little bit faster at the same time. I was actually too tired from the previous day of going to Dobson Pass, if you guys are familiar with Glacier National Park, and so I decided to stay in the VRBO and let my husband take the children and grandchildren on a easier hike, and I went out on a walk and saw some trout in the lake that's right outside our VRBO, and people fishing there. And then over here I wanted to have some blue, purple over here to suggest a darker area and more shadow. Okay, on the bib area. Okay, and as I was walking home after I watched the people fishing, because I was just in the VRBO resting and painting. There was some picture I took the day before that I wanted to do some painting, and I saw on my way home. I painted for a while and then I got tired, so I decided to, hey, I don't go on a long hike, but I wanted to. This is to suggest the shadow. I wanted to get at least in a walk. I went all the way to Glacier National Park, and the VRBO was quite expensive, and I had to take a day break. I thought that wasn't very good, so I went out and went on the walk. And on my way back, I was walking by a ditch, and suddenly, out of nowhere, very quietly, I saw an owl descended upon a little rat. And wow, that was really something to watch, and the speed and the quietness, and he was trying to subdue the rat. Of course the rat struggled. If I were the rat, I would struggle too. And that was really fun. I watched it. I watched the whole time, and I don't know why. I must not have my phone with me, so I didn't take pictures. Oh well, but I remember it. Even till today, I still remember that. Okay, now since the bib is also separate from the main part of the body, we need to do some shadow over here, okay? Over this area, okay? And so you can put some burnt umber there if you wanted to. I guess I'm going to do so, but just a little bit. Just a little bit, not a lot. That was really fun that I get to see that. And of course my family went out and see a lot of goats. They went to see the goats that was in that area, and they had a lot of fun too that day. I love nature. I love going out to see them, and I love seeing animal when we go to Yellowstone National Park. Of course, you know, bison will be easy. And this time I was going to, my husband is all planning to make a video of me painting bison, but it didn't happen because we can't find the bison herd, the herd of the bison. In August, we saw a herd in a very beautiful, picturesque area, and I say, hey, I'm gonna come back and paint this. Okay, when I went back to the same area, it was on the way to Lamar Valley. All I see was one bison, and my husband said a lot of people were taking pictures of the bison, and my husband said, is the bison dead? Because he was not moving. He just was not moving, and it was already about 10 o'clock. Now the reason why, okay, so because it's a cast shadow, we can also use some paint spray, and I like to do that because then it's just not so monotonous, just one color, okay? And so other than that, I actually am going to also use some purple. So I say, you know, I really don't know, and so I keep thinking about it and thinking about it, and he has his head down, the bison, and was not moving, not chomping on the grass like what they usually do, just with his head down. And so I thought about it, and by the time I get to Lamar Valley, I turn to my husband, I say, I think he was just sleeping. He was just asleep, and I think I was right. Guess why? Because when we come back, he was not moving. He was gone, sorry, he was gone already. When we come back from Lamar Valley and doing a little bit hiking, and at Lamar Valley is really, really fun, but it takes 2 hours to get there from West Yellowstone, so my children went with us. They didn't go to Lamar Valley, but Lamar Valley has a lot of really tall pine, and it's a more densely pine area, and so the forest there has a lot more animals. And on our way back, we saw a bear, and that was really fun. Who doesn't like to see bears, right? In the wild, so close to us. But that bear was actually on the hill, and he has been there for the whole afternoon. From what I heard when I get there, I saw him and talked to some people. He was there whole afternoon, didn't care about people looking at him. The bears in Yellowstone Park are just really fun. Really, really fun. Okay, so, oh yes, let's do that part a little bit, okay? Just a little bit. And you know, I'm leaving this area open. I hope that's the same way I do in the drawing. But if not, if there's a line, you know, don't stress over it. It's okay. I'm going to bring the background over there, and I will show you when I get to that time, okay? Okay, so that's the first layer of what I call the shadow, okay? And then I will drop some paint spray on here. The bears are really cute in Yellowstone National Park. They're just everywhere. And of course, we're not supposed to feed them. I wouldn't be so brave as to feed them. I have never really had a close encounter and don't want it to. have a close encounter. They're really cute to see, but not like very close in person. My husband always bring bear spray with us, and I don't remember, did he practice by himself how to use one? Because I certainly do not know how to use a bear spray on a bear. And I think the feet, the distance supposed to be away from the bear is about 30. Is it 30? Yeah, and then you can spray your bear spray. I think that I'm correct, but if I'm wrong, you guys know. I don't really get the numbers straight in my head. And so I just usually I just let my husband, take care of the more scary thing. I don't like to. Okay, now I'm just using a clean brush and just softening so it doesn't look so harsh. The burnt umber line. Okay, and so that's the first layer of his. Yeah, I think we've decided that to call this a his, right? And back in with the sepia, and it's very fun. I think we only had to buy one bear spray in Yellowstone Park. We go on hikes, as I told you earlier, and hikes are really fun. And be honest with you, most of the Yellowstone hike, we are the only person there. And but a lot of time you run into a lot of foreigners from Europe. The Asian people doesn't go on the very hard hike like the one that we did. Maybe if I remember in just a second, I'll tell you about one of the hardest one. Anyway, so we were going up Elephant Back and run into some German people, and they say, hey, we're leaving, this is our last hike, and we're not, of course, supposed to bring the bear spray with us on the plane, so if you want it, do you want it? And so we say, oh yes, of course. So we take that bear spray, and then somebody else also give us bear spray. I don't quite remember. So we have 5 of them maybe, and my husband carry one, sometimes I carry one, sometimes, but most of the time, no. I'm just too nervous. I know I'll be too nervous too, but I really should learn how to use it. So maybe I should set a goal and, tell my husband to take me out to a hike, and then we can, I think one of our best spray expire, and so those are the best that you can use to practice. We do see a lot of bears, just not when my husband and I were hiking and one-on-one, 2-to-1, I guess, with the bear. And I don't think that would be very fun. That would be kind of scary. And one time, animal doesn't like to be startled. And I've been explained to that people say that moose are not very bright. They are just easily angered. Okay, that's some gold to brighten this part up, because this is a very pretty part of his feather. So we want to bring some attention to there, apart from the eye, so I use some to brighten this part up. And okay, what was I talking to you guys, telling you guys about? And the same here, we use the sepia to darken and give more definition. And if the sepia is being diluted when it dry, when I'm almost done, I will probably come back and add some more. Okay, I think it's beginning to, I feel some wind outside. It's beginning actually to to rain a little bit. This rain is really welcome because it will give us the moisture that we need to last for the winter. Of course, winter we snow a lot, but sometimes we don't. Not always that we do. And but now it's nice to fill up the reservoir. We were kind of worried, but not like, if it's like 2-3 years in a row, then we might have to ration the water, but we're still good. And I think a lot of the residents in Utah realized that we had a drought this year and we just don't use as much water. I didn't. Usually yearly we plant a lot. I do, because we have a lady in our area, one of our neighbors go to the same church. We are the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and she has her own gardeners. She has a team, and so she would give us her flowers that she can't use up in her house. But this year she bought a new huge house. I don't know if you guys know Stephen R. Covey. So she bought, her husband and her bought their house, and so they didn't have flowers. And I thought, hey, might as well, because the previous year I used so much water to keep the flower water, and so this year I didn't really buy that many flowers. And I'm okay with it because I've been very busy painting and getting my blog going, because I like to do that. And my daughter is still here going to her last year of undergrad. She's not going to graduate school, but her husband is, and so there's a lot of things she needs to teach me, and how to pose and upload these videos to YouTube. And so I do do a lot of painting while she's here. Okay, 47 minutes. Okay, now underneath here we need to put some pink spray to cast a shadow, right? And so we're gonna do that, and I think it looks very pretty against the sepia and the brown. And then if I actually put a little bit of this purple on it, I think it's even prettier. And so that is what I just did. Yeah, so I didn't plant any flower, and most of our neighbors were very, very good. They didn't use a lot of watering on their lawn, and some of our lawns suffer, but we just don't want to use too much water when there's a drought. I also think that Utah sell some of the water to California, and I guess in a way we save some water for them too, so that they will have some water, because I think California doesn't have a lot of reservoirs for some reason. And I'm going to put this little feather wiggly thing, because that's what happened to that owl, one of the owl that I saw, that I use mainly for this for the composition of this painting. She has some wiggly things over there, so I just do some suggestion over there. Okay, I think I'm good with it for now. Okay, let's go to the body area. Okay, sometimes I know that I seem like I'm trying to rush, but I don't like to do things that's longer than an hour. But if it is, then it's okay, because watercolor takes a long time. Okay, I think because I'm comfortable with it, so I can go a little bit faster, but it should take a long time. And so if it takes you more than an hour, or you get stuck in some area and you need to rewind and see what I actually did, then go ahead and do that. Okay, there's no police telling us how long we can do this. Now what I'm doing right now is I'm like painting like a ball. Okay, so on this side is in the shadow, and if you paint the shadow, then it make this side stand up, the highlight area stand up more, and you will he's a chubby owl. Okay, then you see that he's a chubby owl. And so all these things are, as artists, we do light and shadow. That's big to us, right? And so and I'm going to use the background and bring it in, but it's good to still get all the shadow in. And then what I'm going to do is just put some shadow here and there, because like I say, there it's not paste, you know, the white is not paste on there, and so it has some color but not a lot, but it also have some shadow. And even though we want to keep some light area so it look like a chubby owl, we still need to paint some color and drop some in there. That's just suggestion of color. How's that? Okay, that there's actually some color feather on here. We don't have to paint it exactly, you know, like a photograph. I think with painting, sometimes suggestion do a lot. Okay, and then I know that I realized that I need to put some shadow over here, right? And it will make sense that that area is shadowy too. And smooth it out, smooth it out, smooth it out. Okay, I like that. So that it makes the wing stand out a little bit. Okay, and I'm not quite happy with this, like almost like a straight line, okay? Over there, I'm always like correcting. Okay, so I add some color so it doesn't look like a straight line over. And some over here too, okay? All right, so that look better. Okay, 3 layer, and this heart feather down here, okay? Let's go on to down right here. Let's put some color over here, okay? It's too gray to me, because I know that an owl will have color down here. And so I try to not do a lot and take away from the roundness of the owl, but need to do a little bit, okay? And I'm going to put the same burn umber color over here. Okay, not intense enough for me. And the same go over here, okay? And that's not intense enough either. Sometimes towards the end, the brush gets so wet, it dilutes your effort of trying to put pigment onto the brush, and that's okay. Just put more. Be a little heavy-handed to overcome that, if we can call it a problem. Yeah, I know that I probably am going quite fast because I am comfortable with this painting, but you guys, you know, you can always just stop it, you know, catch up yourself, so that I won't take so much of your time when I'm painting. Okay, let me think if I should leave the little highlight on the, you know, sometimes it does have a little bit, but since it's down here so far from the focus, we don't have to, but I think I'm going to leave a little bit of highlight on that toes that stick out the most over there. Okay, and I'll come and intensify that in a little bit, and I'll just maybe just a tag over here, okay? And then let that be in the dark or the shadow, because it is nighttime. That's what I'm trying to do with this little happy owl, okay? And then I'm going to, like right now, do some shadow over here, okay? And make it a little ambiguous so that you don't know where the end, the line is lost here, the, you know, lost and found, lost and found. Okay, and so, and then I am going to drop some purple here, so you are not sure where is the end of the owl over there, because it's in the dark. I like to do, you know, things like that. just like over here, right? Okay, now let's see. Okay, so what I'm going to do is like finish up the little part of the owl that I told you earlier. Like, okay, at this area of the beak, I kind of wanted it to round and a little bit deeper. Okay, the color over here, so the viewer can see that it is. It has dimensions, almost like a block of triangle. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, and to make things a little bit more intense here and there. Okay, so this I just dip it in the sepia so that the owl is stronger. It's not like kind of like a wimpy kind of painting. It's stronger in the darker area. I make a video of the apple. I'm not sure if I did. I don't think I did. Maybe it's just a reel. And I didn't like the apple because I thought that the color was a little bit wimpy. Okay, so I kind of strengthen some of the darker area. Okay, and I will do that over here too. But that side actually is looking quite good. So not a lot of strengthening. Because like I said earlier, I think this is the pretty part of the owl and it deserves some attention. And when I come in and strengthen this part, and people's eye will go from here to there, you know, back and forth. Okay, and then let's go back and do the shadow that cast by the eyelid onto the eye of the owl. Okay, so it casts a little shadow there, and I soften this line just a little bit. And the human eye will find that, oh, it looks more realistic that way. Because we do see shadows. Sometimes we just don't pay attention to them carefully. Maybe we're busy looking at color and such, but as artists we need to try to look at the shadow carefully. And I will put some white highlight, and then you see that at the end when you see the picture. Okay, and then I need to strengthen this area just a little because, you know, I'm not sure if I want people to come all the way and look at things down here. But this area needs to be a little bit strengthened. But I think with that, it probably will be washed off as I put the background on here. But that will be okay. Just a little bit of some line there. Okay? Okay, and so the owl is pretty good. And I will promise you I will strengthen the eye before I let you see the final picture. And now I'm going to do a little bit of the background, okay? So that you can see, and then I will stop the video and finish up and let you see the work. Okay, so I'm taking a big load of pigment right now, of paint spray, okay? And so what I'm going in is going to the branch. Since it's nighttime, usually when I do branches, I put the line there, etc. But since I'm going to portray the night, I'm going to just put the gray and bring it out. Okay, bring it all the way out, and even if you see the line, I will come back in the very end and strengthen the branch. But as of right now, I want to drop some purple, okay, and start dropping purples, okay. And with watercolor, it's very hard to do night, but I will just, but if you use a lot of gray and a lot of purple, then people know that it is the nighttime. They really do. And so we do the best that we can. And I don't really go into it and just like make it black. I used to do that when I was okay. when I was like earlier in my as a student, but I don't do that. I think it's sufficient. Now you can see that I'm pulling the gray into the owl, and that will give viewer the illusion that the owl is actually blending into the night. Okay, and so you keep using more and more pigment, and then you come over here and just so that you hope that it will get more and more intense. Okay, and I can also pull it into all these areas. It will create harmony and also make you see that the owl is actually into the night. So it's not like the owl look like it's an owl in the daytime, but then the background is the nighttime, and you might get a little confused. Okay, and of course, like what I always do, I don't go all the way to the edge of the paper. Okay, and as I'm dropping gray in there, I also drop a lot of the blue purple in there. Okay, because that really suggests night. Okay, I've dropped the blue purple in there, and then I'll keep going, and I wanted you to see the eye area. You can actually come into here so close to the eyeball and do the same thing. If you don't want to disturb it as much, you know, I understand, because we spend a lot of time trying to make the eye, you know, look sharp and such, and you know, we don't have to. But going into this ear, you can see that how I just like very boldly just go into it. Okay, but we also want the night to be consistent with the owl, so sometimes we drop the bird umber here and there into the night sky, the night atmosphere. Okay, probably should do some over there, and I will. Okay, so it is more important part to show you guys this part so you can see that how I use the background, as my teacher say, to help me blend the owl in. Okay, and that's what I did just over there, and then I'll do the same thing over here, and then I'll work over there and finish the whole painting, and then I will strengthen the branch, and then I will let you guys see the final work. And thank you very much for joining me. I hope you have fun. I really hope that you will try and don't be discouraged, because I know you can do it. It just takes practice, and it's very fun. It's very fun. Okay, thank you. I will see you in the next video. Bye.